Okay, imagine this. Every single week, you're eating a credit card.
Every single week, we ingest up to a credit card's worth of microplastics and nanoplastics.
Yeah, for real. It's microplastics. Tiny plastic bits under 5 millimeters, some so small you can't even see them. The WWF dropped that in 2023. 5 grams a week, like 2,000 little pieces of plastic that you're consuming. Where is it coming from? Your tap water. 90% of US samples have 4.2 particles per liter. According to a 2024 environmental science and technology study, that 83% globally, the water in the world has plastic. Oh, yeah, that fleece hoodie that you're wearing, one wash and it's shedding 1 million fibers of plastic into your washing machine. Now, tires are spitting out about 6.1 million tons of plastic or microplastics per year worldwide. Oceans got 14 million tons just sitting on the seafloor. Imagine how much plastic that is. Did you also know that plastics are in 80% of blood samples? 100% of placentas? It's literally killing us. They're finding microplastics inside of babies. They're finding microplastics in every single organ in the human body. Really, take a second to look around and ask yourself, how much plastic are you surrounded by? How much of that do you think absorbs into your body? How much of that is like being leached into the air that you're breathing? How much of that is being leached into the food that you're eating? How much of it is being leached into the water that you're drinking? And honestly, what the plastics are doing is they're never breaking down and they're causing severe inflammation in our bodies. And inflammation is the starting point for so many things that are killing us. On the Huberman Lab, Dr. Huberman talks about the microplastics and our health. Here's this clip.
All these microplastics and nanoplastics floating around in our environment and going into our body through fluids and foods, etc. Well, there is some serious concern because these microplastics potentially can disrupt cellular health, organ health, and could potentially lead to certain forms of disease. Plastics and nanoplastics have been shown to lodge within specific tissues and stay there for long periods of time. That microplastics and nanoplastics are everywhere, okay? They're just everywhere you look. There is that wherever people look for microplastics, they find them. This is true in our environment, and this is true in food, this is true in water, and this is also true for our tissues. So in the last couple of years, there's been an explosion in the number of scientific studies exploring which tissues of the human body, so not just animal models, but the human body, contain microplastics and nanoplastics. Okay, so by examining postmortem tissues, that is tissues from people who are deceased, it's been discovered that there are microplastics and nanoplastics lodged in the brain.
And the craziest thing is all this information about how toxic plastic is for us. We're making 430 million tons of plastic a year, and only 9% of the plastic gets recycled. It's really crazy on how much we've been taken over by plastic. It's absolutely everywhere. It's inside of our bodies. It's everywhere we look, see, smell, everything. And for some reason, we don't have enough people on planet Earth that are plastic free. What's the last plastic thing you used? What's the last plastic thing you ate your food off of? What's the last plastic thing you threw it away? Drop it in the comments below. If you like my videos, I would please encourage you to hit the subscribe button as I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel up to where I can make monetization off of my content. If you vibrate with my message, I'd appreciate a subscription. You could also hit the bell notification. We'll get notified every time I drop a video. Now that we're done with microplastics, we're going to get into fragrances. So microplastics are everywhere, right? Now picture them teaming up with the fresh linen candle that you're obsessed with. That scent has also got a secret. It's hiding up to 3,000 compounds, according to the International Fragrance Association in 2023. In 2024, an EW test on 50 products found 18 hidden chemicals per scent, 75% with phthalates or musks riding along with those microplastics. Styrene, a carcinogen since 2018, is up 12%. They're also in 95% of all US indoor air, 50 micrograms per cubic meter. Basically, everywhere you are at, there's fragrance stuff, chemicals surrounding you. You just continuously breathing it in. I would recommend you get an air purifier for your home. Like I mentioned in the past topic, that you should get a water filter so you can get the plastic out of your water. You should get an air purifier for your home so you can get the fragrances out of your air. 11% of Americans have allergies, as well as kids' risk for asthma is up by 15%. There's so much fragrance and toxic stuff in our water that fish are soaking up 10 to 100 times more than we are. On the Breaking Beauty podcast, she talks a lot about fragrances. Let's hear what she's got to say.
We don't use phthalates.
Okay.
So we have, that does cause a lastability issue. So, if anyone complains about our perfumes, they don't last for 24 hours
Right.
or they don't last long enough, but that's because, we're not using phthalates. And I think that's an ingredient we just won't use. We've never
Right.
used it in our perfumes. When I first started learning about classical perfuming, they're like, oh, well, we'll bring this ingredient into, you have to make sure if you're using essential oils, we boost it with phthalates. And I'm
Right.
like, what's a phthalate?
Right.
And so I really learned a lot and went down the rabbit hole on that. So I really feel like we're probably one of the first brands that started positioning ourselves as phthalate free.
And guess what? The fragrances, they're also packed with phthalates. We're tying it all together in this next one. Now, fragrances are wild, but they're loaded with phthalates, those plastic softening chemicals to keep this toxic train moving and just submerging us in this toxic sludge. They're in 70% of US cosmetics and 100% in flexible plastics. Leaking from the same microplastic stuff from your takeout box to your shower curtain to your plates, your spatulas, all of your cosmetic stuff pretty much. 2023 data from the CDC says that 99% of us got diethyl phthalate in our pee. 99% of us have this phthalate in our urine. How wild is that? It kind of puts into perspective like what these fragrances are actually doing, right? Now, phthalates is even crazier than just what you might have in your home. Fast food places and their products sometimes have up to 10,000 nanograms per serving of the food you're eating is filled with phthalates. So you're taking anywhere from 0.1 to 0.5 milligrams daily of phthalates. It's rough. 2023 Columbia research says that 100 micrograms per liter in mom's urine means 20% more in preterm birth. Like I said with the plastics, this stuff is affecting unborn humans. How is this something that we are not talking about and blowing up all over the internet to talk about? They also found that in a 2024 endocrinology study that 50 micrograms per kilogram daily drops rats' testosterone by 30%. Now, bottled water's got them too. 87% have 0.02 to 0.5 micrograms per liter. That's a whole bunch of phthalates in all of the water we're consuming. We're pumping out 2 million tons a year. Now, Dr. Shanna Swan on the Huberman Lab, she's going to talk about this. Let's get into it.
Under the influence of testosterone in a very specific window called the male programming window. In rats, it stays, I think, 9 to 12 of gestation. So a very short window.
To orient people, I think rat mouse gestation is about 21 days or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, for us, it'll be early first trimester. Okay. But that comes later. So at that time, if they feed their mother that chemical in her food, then her male offspring are born with changes in his genitals, or more likely to, right? And so what they tend to have is a smaller penis, less descent of the testes, more likely to have undescended testicles. There are internal changes that we didn't get into in our human study because we can't look there, but the epididymis, there are changes and so on. The whole genital tract is altered. And the most important measure for me, as it turned out, and for humans, and perhaps for animals, is something that the scientists, animal scientists, had studied for a long time, for actually 90 plus years, but had never been studied in humans. And that is the distance from the anus to the genitals. This collection of changes in the male genitals was given the name the phthalate syndrome, phthalate metabolites. So these are products that the body forms when they're exposed to phthalates, and you can measure them in urine. So I thought, okay, I could get that urine, I could look at the phthalate metabolites, and then I'd know what the mother was exposed to. And based on the animal data, we have good evidence that it actually makes its way to the fetus. So then I thought, okay, then maybe there's a change in the babies. So then I had to get the babies. So fortunately, I had done this study on pregnant couples, pregnant women and their partners, and I was able to call them and say, would you come in and let us measure your baby's genitals?
Go ahead and comment below the last plastic wrapped thing that you decided to eat. We're talking about parabens next. Stay with me. Okay, so phthalates are bad news, but parabens, they're hopping on this toxic bandwagon too. They're in your lotion, shampoo, makeup. So ladies, you better start paying attention to this. Methylparaben is in 85% of personal care stuff. Propylparaben is in 60%. You're getting 2.5 milligrams per kilogram daily, and P-tests show 15 to 50 micrograms per liter. A 2022 toxicology study found that 90% of breast tissues had 20 nanograms per gram, but the cancer link is unclear. But they act like estrogen. 2024 Environmental Health says 10 micromolar methylparaben boosts receptor activity by 25%. And the EU caps propylparaben at 0.14%. But the US says that 0.4%, 18,000 tons sold in 2023. They're in 92% of the US rivers. 100% of polar bear fat had 5 to 10 nanograms per gram. All right, guys, I'm super obsessed with health. I just want everyone to be aware of the toxic things inside of your environment. So like I said, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel so I can start to get monetization on my content. So if you vibrate with my message, I would truly, truly appreciate a subscription. Now let's talk about artificial dyes, my favorite. Okay, so parabens are like the things that keep stuff fresh. It's like a preservative kind of, right? But artificial dyes, they're the colorful chaos tying it all back to plastics that we started with. The US uses 15 million pounds a year. Red 40s, 6 million. Candles get 500 micrograms per serving. Cereals, 300. Tartrazine's in 96% of yellow snacks. A 2021 California OEHHA review says Red 40 at 35 milligrams per kilogram daily ups kids' hyperactivity by 20%. A 2007 Lancet saw 15 to 30% jump. Red 3, 500,000 pounds made in 2023. It gave rats thyroid tumors. We're eating 0.02 ounces of artificial dye per person yearly, often in phthalate-laced wrappers.
As I shared last Friday and I'll share today, artificial colors, and I'm going to name them in 1 second, used to come from coal tar, legitimately tar, right? Like coal tar, nothing we would want to put in our body. Then they said, oh yeah, this isn't healthy. This is a bad idea. Where else are we going to get it from? Crude oil. So basically petroleum is now where they're making these artificial colors from. The FDA has already retracted their statement. There's also 91 other now different dyes that were once approved that could be used in cosmetics, but I'm going to go over those numbers right now. One more stat though, or I couldn't hold back on this one, is that this is a direct quote. So what was once reserved basically for an every once in a while thing, celebration, etc., is now being used with an increase of 5-fold, meaning artificial colors. Artificial colors are up 5-fold, 5x, since 1955, up from 3 million to 15 million pounds per year. Now let's take you through the actual number-based grid. And this is right on the chemistry-based website. Okay, so here we go. So blue one, the lighter blue, is called Brilliant Blue FCF. All right. So on the back of a label now, if you see Brilliant Blue, maybe it has FCF, maybe it doesn't, you know that that's blue number 1. All right, blue number 2 is called indigo-tine. Makes it sound like it's all natural, right? From nature, indigo. Indigo-tine is the synthetic version of indigo, of blue, right? So it's the synthetic version of natural indigo in nature, indigo-tine. All right, so again, not natural, synthetic version of indigo-tine. Probably, by the way, the most natural out of all of them, just going to say that, is the indigo-tine. It's just a man-made version of it. So that would be like my least egregious, but still not going with that, right? All right, now the green turquoise color, green 3, it's called fast green. Fast green, FCF. Red, number 3, is called erythrosine. All right, so the back of a label, if you see erythrosine, that's the pink. The bright red, the fire engine red, is called Allura. We went through that before, right? Allura, A-L-L-U-R-A. And then we've got the at least as popular yellow called tartrazine. Those were the 2 first original ones that we found out about. Okay, that's yellow. And then the sunset yellow, it's called sunset yellow FCF. That's yellow number 6. Sunset yellow is really an orange color. It's just called sunset yellow, setting sun, more orange. Those are your 7 main food-based colors that now, instead of looking at the number and knowing that it's blue, it's green, it's red, it's yellow. No, it could be brilliant blue, indigo-tine, fast green, erythrosine, allura, tartrazine, or sunset yellow. They sound a whole lot nicer, right? Than all the different paint numbers basically that they are.
Okay, guys, it's all connected. Yeah, microplastics, 8 million tons of them in our oceans. Carry fragrances, 3 billion pounds have been produced. Packed with phthalates, preserved by parabens, colored with dyes. We're 100% exposed. 2024 biomonitoring says infertility is up 20% since 2000. Allergies is up 30%. Rivers, 90%. Air, meals, it's all just being taken over by all of these toxic chemicals. Our whole reality is being just submerged in toxicity. This is our world. This is our planet. It's our life and our bodies. We need to stop taking what is just given to us. Stop falling accustomed to the traditional ways of eating by supporting fast food places. Stop drinking diabetes water. Be more aware of the things you're putting in, on, and around your body, because you are important. Your health is directly connected to your mental health, which is directly connected to your quality of living. Please like and share this video because I feel like more people need to see this. I hope you like the video. Peace out, bruh.